Hey guys, how are you doing? Today I just wanted to quickly talk to you a bit about how eating rotting cabbage completely covered in bugs completely transformed my health and my life. So I'm talking, of course, about sauerkraut, and what I'm going to share with you today is a quick, easy, foolproof method for making your own at home in case you and your doctor think these tasty little bugs might be able to transform your health as well. So as you may or may not know, when you're making sauerkraut, what you're doing is fermenting the cabbage, and starting to eat fermented foods every single day was such a game changer for my health. For years, I did not know about this insane health hack. Fermented foods, as some of you may or may not know, are packed full of probiotics, which is what gives them that potential to make you healthier and just make your body function so much better. And for years, especially the first couple years that I was sick with chronic fatigue syndrome and I was just desperate and trying everything and spending so much money, I spent literally thousands of dollars on probiotic supplements. I was taking them by the handful every single day. But no matter how many I took, I never saw any difference. It never seemed to help me one bit. So eventually I got tired of wasting my money and I just stopped taking them. But then fast forward a few years later, and I got excited about probiotics again, and I decided to start taking them this time in food form, so through fermented foods. And oh my goodness, the results I saw were immediate. They were significant and they were undeniable. Some of the things that I saw were things like my digestion got so much better. I was way less bloated. Things like problematic food cravings and sugar cravings and problem with portion control completely disappeared. Overall, my immune system got better. I was getting sick way less. Now I get sick about once a year. Before I started eating fermented foods, I think I was getting sick 3 or 4 times a year, maybe even more. It felt like it was constant. Random infections in my body that had unfortunately become a normal part of my life, things like UTIs and yeast infections. I never ever got any of those ever again. And that was about 3 years ago, I believe, or ish, that I started this. Not a single one since. So it has really just been incredible what making the habit of incorporating fermented foods into my diet every single day has done for my overall health and happiness and quality of life. And just quickly, if you're enjoying this video so far, if you could just hit that like button, or sorry, no, smash that like button. You have to say smash. It's an official YouTube rule. It's even in the guidelines. If you could smash that like button, I'd really appreciate it a lot. So I share all of this in much greater detail, plus a whole bunch of information about the things that I did to change my diet and change the way I ate that allowed me to finally fully recover from chronic fatigue syndrome. So that video is titled Chronic Fatigue Syndrome Diet, 5 Tips for Using Food to Heal. So I'll put the link on the video here and in the description below if you'd like to check it out. And disclaimer time, I do not know if this will work for you. I do not know if this will work for anybody else out there. All I'm sharing is what my results were and how this worked for me. So it will be up to you to research this further, to talk to your trusted healthcare professional, and decide if this might be something that could possibly work for you as well. All right, so sauerkraut, why make it? Why not just buy it? And of all the other fermented foods out there, why are we only talking about sauerkraut? Why not kefir or kombucha or any of the other fermented vegetables that you can make? I'm so glad you asked. First, because the store-bought options can be a bit pricey, and also with some of the fermented foods, especially things like sauerkraut, you can never really be sure about their quality. Some of the foods that we see in the grocery store and we assume are fermented actually aren't. They're actually just soaking in vinegar or some other process that really doesn't have much living probiotics in them. And also, as I understand it, the process involved, even if these companies ferment things properly from the start, what they have to do to them so that they are safe to sit on grocery store shelves for months or years, that process that they put them through essentially kills all of the healthy bacteria in there. So you might get a tasty food that you can enjoy with your meal, but it's not going to be full of those probiotics that you're looking for. And second, because of all of the fermented foods that I've made over the last couple years, sauerkraut is by far the cheapest, the easiest to make, and requires the least specialized equipment to make it. And it's tasty, so it is a really great place to start. And it's really hard to go wrong with it. It's really hard to mess it up. And if you follow these simple steps I'm about to share, it will turn out for you every single time. All right, so now you know why you should eat sauerkraut, why you should make it instead of buying it. I bet you know what's coming next in this video. I bet you can guess. That's right, you guessed it. 10-minute dance interlude. Okay, I know that only ended up being a few seconds. I know, but trust me, I did the whole 10 minutes. But on further thought, 10 minutes seemed like maybe just a little bit long for this video and possibly not actually the most logical thing to come next in this video about sauerkraut. The next obvious thing to move on to is your sauerkraut tutorial. And I'm calling this super awesome, foolproof, fail-proof, delicious, can't go wrong with it, eat it with everything, no nonsense, rotting cabbage, full of happy bugs, sauerkraut. Okay, just as with the 10-minute dance-off, I've since decided that this name is also a tad too long. So how about delicious, foolproof sauerkraut? So let's start with what you're gonna need. It's really basic for sauerkraut. You're gonna need a large mixing bowl, you're gonna need a knife and a cutting board, or a food processor, a quart-sized or larger mason jar, some sort of weight. This can be an official, specially purchased fermentation weight, or a rock or something else heavy that you find in your home that you think you can use to put on the top of the jar and weigh everything down at the end. I made countless batches without buying any sort of fancy fermentation weights, just using things from my home. I thought I was being smart, but oh my goodness, I was not being smart. It never really worked all that well. It was really annoying and frustrating. And then I finally broke down and spent the 13 entire dollars necessary to get these fancy fermentation weights, and they was the best $13 that I've ever spent. So I'll put a link in the description if you want to check them out and consider getting some yourself. And when you get those weights, make sure they match your jar type. There is the wide mouth mason jar versus the regular mason jar. Which gets me wondering, am I the only person that didn't know that the group Wide Mouth Mason was named after a canning jar? Or am I the only person that even knows who Wide Mouth Mason is? They're a Canadian rock band. They came out years ago. They were very popular where I lived. I'm from Canada. But I always assumed that there was a guy in the band and his name was Mason and he was quite chatty. But it turns out that none of them are named Mason and they just decided to name their group after a canning jar. Fun fact. Moving on. Ingredients for classic sauerkraut. I don't know why I'm always clapping. It just makes me feel better. So, what you're gonna need just for your basic recipe of sauerkraut, which is delicious as is just 1 head of cabbage, any color. I'm using purple cabbage today. This is my first time using purple cabbage. I've always, in the past, always used green, but the grocery store is out of green this week for some reason, so purple it is. And then you'll need some kind of unrefined salt. I use Himalayan sea salt. And then have some filter water on hand because you may or may not need this. More on that later. And I'm also going to show you some optional ingredients today, but it will be perfectly fine without adding these things. I'm just going to show you a couple different flavor options today and then leave it to you to decide how fancy or how simple you want to make it. So I'm going to make 2 different kinds today. One's going to be an apple carrot sauerkraut and the other one's going to be a garlic and basil sauerkraut. If you're doing the basil and garlic one, you're going to need a garlic press, and if you're doing the apple carrot one, you'll need some sort of grater, either a hand grater or a grater attachment on a food processor. When we get to the end of this, I'll flash up a written description of all this on the screen in case you want to take a screenshot, and I'll put the ingredient list for a smaller batch, but what you'll see me making today is a larger batch so that I can show you the different variations and the different flavor options. Okay, let's get going. Are you ready? Step 1, make sure all your supplies and your work area are exceptionally clean. Wash everything very well with hot soapy water and make sure to rinse away all of the soap. Because what we're doing in this fermentation process is we are purposely growing bacteria. So we want to make sure only the good bacteria is in there. So if we are using dirty tools, dirty supplies, we could get some harmful bacteria, and that's what will be growing in the jar, which will not be healthy at all. Plus, soap can kill probiotics. So if you leave soap residue on any of your tools, then that might kill off some of your probiotics that you're trying to grow. Now, I don't wash the cabbage, I just remove and toss a couple of the outer layers. Any additional produce that you're using needs to be cleaned thoroughly as well. I use water and a splash of apple cider vinegar to clean them, and then I just let everything air dry. And of course, wash your hands thoroughly as well. Step 2, as I said, remove a couple outer layers of the cabbage and discard them, and then remove 1 more. Try as much as you can to keep it all in one piece. I know it's hard, and put it aside and save it for later. And then you're going to shred the cabbage into narrow strips using either a knife or you can use a food processor. And no matter what you use, the narrower the pieces that you make, the faster your sauerkraut will ferment. So we've got our 2 different flavors here, garlic and basil, carrot and apple. If you're making the first, you're going to press the garlic. A side note on garlic, for years, I really overcomplicated peeling garlic. I bought all these fancy contraptions to help me do it better, and it just really wasn't necessary. So in case, like me, for so many years, you don't already know this, to easily remove the peel, just press down on it with the side of a knife and then the peel will come off really easily. And if you're making the second batch, the apple and carrot, you're going to want to shred the apple and the carrots using either a hand grater or a food processor with a grater attachment. Already on to step 3, put the shredded cabbage in your mixing bowl and then add the salt. You're going to want to add about 1.5 tablespoons of salt for every 1 medium-sized head of cabbage that you're using. So this can be all of your ingredients right here, and that will be great as is. But if you're doing one of the flavored versions, then add your extra ingredients right now as well. Step 4, use your clean hands to squeeze and mash the cabbage mixture for 1 full minute. After that minute is done, there are 2 roads you can take here, the fast way or the lazy way. Only you know what kind of person you are, so only you will know which route is best for you. Option 1, the fast way. Once you've mashed that cabbage mixture in the bowl for 1 minute, don't stop. Keep going for about 10 more minutes. After around 10 minutes, that cabbage mixture will have reduced to a much smaller amount, and there will be a salty liquid brine in the bottom of the bowl. Or option 2, the lazy way, or as I like to call it, the efficient way. After you've mashed the cabbage for that first minute, walk away from it. Just leave it. Let it sit there for about 30 minutes and it will magically do all of the work itself. Step 5, pack the cabbage into the mason jar as tightly as possible. Now you can buy a fancy tamper for this. Okay, I don't think they're all that fancy. I think they're also available for about $13, but I haven't yet found the need to splurge on such luxury and extravagance. My hands seem to work just fine, but in case you are the fancy type and you want a tamper, I'll put a link in the description below and you can check it out. So after you've packed that cabbage into the jar, there should be about 1 to 2 inches from the top of the cabbage up to the top rim of the jar that is empty. And once the cabbage is completely packed in, then you're going to pour in the brine, that whatever liquid was in the bottom of the bowl, and that liquid should completely cover the cabbage in the jar. When you look at the top, all you should see is liquid. And if it doesn't, then take some of that filtered water and just top it up a little bit. Step 6, grab that cabbage leaf you set aside, fold it up a bit so it'll fit nicely on the top of the jar, and place it inside of the jar on top of the shredded cabbage. And then you're going to insert a weight on top of that. So either something you've found in your home that you think will work and you've cleaned it first, or official fermentation weight. Once you put that weight in, push it down and you should see liquid on top of the weight. If not, pour in a little of that filtered water. Step 7, cover the jar with a paper towel or a coffee filter or a cheesecloth or a clean tea towel, just something breathable, and then secure it in place with an elastic. You can also buy fancy fermentation lids instead, but again, I've never really found that necessary, but I'll put a link in the description should you want to check them out. So this step is to provide a breathable lid that allows the gases produced during the fermentation process to escape and also keeps out the dust and the bugs. Step 8, put your jar or jars someplace that you can get at them easily and won't forget about them. I keep mine on my kitchen counter, except for the first night. That first night I put them in the sink because I've noticed that for me, that first night, sometimes they overflow. I'm not sure what's happening, but they make a bit of a mess. So first night in the sink, after that on the counter until the fermentation is done, and keep them out of direct sunlight. Now you're gonna wanna check on them every single day. Remove whatever breathable lid that you're using and take a spoon and scoop away any foam or pieces of cabbage that have risen to the top, because they can cause mold. Make sure the weight is still submerged in liquid, and if it isn't, top it up with a little of that filtered water. If you live someplace dry, like I do right now, you're probably gonna have to top it up a few times. If you live someplace quite humid, you might not need to top it up at all. The most important thing is that at all times, everything needs to stay fully submerged under the water, because if it doesn't, things will start to mold. And when you're new at this, when you're checking on it, you're probably gonna be looking at little things, normal parts of the fermentation process and thinking, is that mold? What about that? Well, maybe that's mold. You will know. You won't have to ask. The mold will look like all the mold you've ever seen in your life. It's that blue and green fuzzy stuff that you see growing on bread or cheese. And if you see that, you're gonna have to toss your sauerkraut and start again. But if you follow these steps, that's never gonna happen, so don't worry. So once you're done checking it, reseal it with the breathable lid, and it's good for another 24 hours. I let mine ferment for anywhere from 10 days to 3 weeks. How long you let it ferment is really going to be up to you. How fast it ferments is going to depend on a couple things. Like I said earlier, how finely you've shred the cabbage, the finer it is, the faster it's fermenting. Also, temperature really impacts rate of fermentation. So if your home is warmer, it's going to be fermenting faster. If your home is cooler, fermenting slower. And also, the longer it ferments, the more probiotics it has, to a point. At some point, the probiotics are going to start to die because they don't have any food left to eat, and the more sour it gets. So it depends how sour you want your cabbage to be. So really anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks is fine, and you can taste it as you go and see when it gets to a spot where you're enjoying the flavor. And FYI, I'm happy to report that the purple cabbage is just as tasty as the green cabbage. I would highly recommend it. They are both great. So once you've decided it's ready, remove the weight from the jar because you are officially done with this. It works best when you've left that couple of inches of room at the top of the jar, because then you can just push down on one side of the weight, flip it sideways, and pull it out. Then you can remove that top leaf that you put in there to help keep everything down. I throw mine away, but it's perfectly fine to eat. I just prefer my sauerkraut to be shredded, so I hope you can forgive me for this wasteful behavior of tossing away that one perfectly good cabbage leaf. Now you're just gonna grab the lid that the jar came with when you bought it, and you're gonna put that lid on and just put the sauerkraut into the fridge. I've kept my sauerkraut up to 2 months at a time, and it's always been fine. I suspect you could go even longer. It will keep fermenting in the fridge, but at a much slower rate. All right, step 10, the final and most important step. Now you need to do your own 10-minute dance party because you have just created your very first batch of homemade sauerkraut. Well done. Sauerkraut is delicious. It's great on the roasted vegetable sandwiches that I eat for lunch all of the time. We also put it out on our dinner table every single night, and then we just scoop a bit out onto the side of our plate so that we make sure we're getting adequate, tasty, health-promoting little bugs every single day. And just a quick note on fermented foods in general, if you're new to eating them, start very small, because flooding your body with billions and billions and billions of probiotics all at once is really going to be a bit stressful on your body. It's going to be uncomfortable, you're going to be bloated, and it's just not going to be fun. So start small, probably not every day, and just slowly build your way up. And make sure you eat a wide variety of fruits and vegetables as well, because those fiber-rich fruits and vegetables are actually the food for the probiotics that are setting up shop in your body. So you need to feed them. There's a symbiotic relationship happening there. So you want to make sure this awesome army of little bugs that you've got growing in your body has what they need to be strong and help you be strong. All right, I'll just quickly flash up a written version of all this as well if you want to take a screenshot for future reference, or just bookmark this video and watch it again when you make it. I could certainly use the views. All right, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. The question of the day is, what is the biggest change you've made with your diet that has shown you the greatest health benefits? Put it in the comments below so that we can all learn from each other and get healthier together. Because humans are the only species that I know of that are so confused as to how to take care of themselves and how to keep themselves alive. Seems like some kind of design flaw in this supposedly massive brain of ours, but what do I know? So let's band together, let's share our knowledge, and let's get healthier and happier and stronger together. And if you like this video, don't forget to watch my video titled Chronic Fatigue Syndrome Diet, 5 Tips for Using Food to Heal. So that's your follow-up video for this video, and I will see you in the next video. And don't forget to smash that like button below, and maybe even hit the subscribe button if you think you might want to see more videos like this in the future with tons of health and happiness hacks. What have you got to lose? You can always unsubscribe. So please keep working, everyone. Keep putting that goodness out into the world, that goodness back towards yourself, and know that whatever it is that you are dealing with right now, facing, trying to achieve, trying to overcome, you have got this. Take care, and I will see you in the next video. Because what we are doing in this why can't I say fermentation? Fermentation. Because what we are doing in this the next no-nonsense thing to move on to is the next no-nonsense thing? What the actual? Loosen up. All right, so sauerkraut. Why sauerkraut? Nope. Nope. Why do you keep doing that? Ingredients for classic sauerkraut. I don't know why I just did that. Ingredients for no. That can be better. Why can't I speak?